So in 2013, I got Spotify for the first time, and I promise this goes back to the title, just stick with me. I went to a band's page that I enjoyed, and I just listened to the radio station attached to it. And the first song that was ever algorithmically suggested to me, I loved. And I love it to this day. It's called Set Ourselves Free by The Wild, and while trying to find the right words to talk about this video, a line from that song kept repeating in my head. So just know that everything is gonna be alright. Death is too hard to conceptualize. Death is too hard to conceptualize. Death is too hard to conceptualize. I've always been someone who enjoys a working relationship with death. I think enjoys is the wrong word. I think I've always needed one. The times when I'm at my lowest are the times in which I have no real awareness of just how special it is to be alive. And for me, that awareness comes from understanding and acceptance of the permanence of death that awaits me. Heavy, yeah, but I found that weight to be very important. Facing death is the philosophical gravity that grounds me to my life, but I still don't understand it. I don't know it. I can't conceptualize it. And I think that's always what brings me into my ruts of forgetting just how much control I have over my life, largely because my relationship to death isn't real. I don't have much experience with it in my life. I haven't died. I've never been told I was dying. I've been what I consider to be close to death a couple of times. Like I almost drowned a few times, had a skiing accident, I got robbed with a fake gun, that's a whole thing. And in the moment, I felt like it could be the end, but it wasn't. Those were blips. Those were just little points. I don't have to live with them every day. I can forget. And as of right now, and I know this will change, but not anybody close to me has died. At least not somebody very close to me. I've never even had a pet that has died because, well, I've never had a pet. Which is why I think I've been drawn recently to these videos about people dying on the internet. And I'm not talking about people losing their lives. No, I hate those. I've seen far too many of those as a child, and that's a whole other video. Those don't interest me. I'm talking about people who are diagnosed with terminal illnesses and decide to document what that process is like and share it online. I think these people are doing very important work, and that's what I'm here to discuss, because I haven't seen a discussion about it before. If I titled this video 6 months left to live, I'm sure it would draw more attention. I mean, hell, I know it works on me. As of this week, I would click on that video. We're largely digital beings now, and as confused as we are about our practices and ways of handling death in real life, we now have the whole other complexity that is dealing with death on the internet. This all started because I stumbled upon a video of Claire Weiland recently. And if you don't know, Claire Weiland is a young woman with cystic fibrosis who's had to face her mortality ever since she was born. I was watching her speak, and it was amazing to see the amount of clarity she had regarding life. The talk was not about death. It acknowledged death, certainly, but it was not about death. It's about living each moment, each day, as it is, and putting in the fight to live the way you like. And not just referring to her either, but to everybody. Just because she was certainly dying faster than most people in the audience doesn't mean that only she could live in each moment. Everybody had the power to. Everybody can. And sure, it's something I've heard before. It's something you've probably heard before in so many forms. There's so many cliches about it, like seize the day, life is uncertain, live in the moment. There's music, movies, media, that one song that's like, gotta live like we're dying. Dying has been everywhere forever, because of course it has. It's the only thing that every single human has ever existed has in common, especially in the past 100 years or so in America, and probably more places, but I can only really speak for what I know. Death has largely been handled in private. Funeral homes, hospital rooms, hospice care facilities, all these places made so that the life leading up to the last breath is shielded from the public eye, which makes sense, I guess, because who wants to think about death all the time? Who wants to see it? It feels like it's this tragic moment that has so much weight and sadness and grief, and while that may be true, I think we're doing ourselves a cultural disservice by dying so privately. We are mystifying death. And the more we ignore it, the bigger and scarier it gets. And I think the less and less connected we are to what it means to live. The internet, however, is changing that. Specifically, these people who choose to document what it's like to live while dying. They're creating an inside look into what life means when you know there might not be much left, which, to me, is the basis of building a healthier relationship with death. Something I cherish. That's also the reason why every Claire Weiland quote hits me way harder than any of those other forms of media combined. It's because I am fully aware that she speaks from a place that is in relation to her death. She's not speaking loftily about this abstract time where she'll meet her end. No, she'd been on timelines for her whole life. And I know that because she's spoken about it. She's shown it. She's documented it. She has shared it. She's showcased what it's like to have that understanding of your own mortality. Having a teacher you trust is important. You know that they're giving you information from experience. And, that experience is something we need because we're all on a timeline. And someone who knows they're near the end has lessons from that point. And I can confidently say that her lessons resonate very well with me. I mean, she died 5 years ago. I heard her speak for the first time this week. That is not a well-documented human experience. I felt like I got to meet, understand, and care about somebody years after they've passed. And sure, we've had books do that, but Edgar Allan Poe didn't really have a vlog, Video is the closest we can get right now to sharing real life. And to share real life, sometimes, is to share dying. Claire made videos for years, and I'm sure there were plenty of people who watched her videos and died before she did, either terminal or not, knowing or unknowing. I can guarantee that that's true. Because death is certain, so life is uncertain. And I think her work is so important. I think the work of all of these people who are living with this close proximity to death is so important and so needed, at least for me. I think that I am truly only able to live my life when I have a working relationship with death, and that's common for a lot of people, or at least a good amount of people that I've met. There's so many stories of people with near-death experiences who completely change their life after because of this clarity they receive. And I think a working relationship with death, one in which you acknowledge it to the best of your abilities and integrate a sense of appreciation into your everyday, is how people can really live their lives and make the most out of their moments. Because, as I've said before, we're all dying. So even this video right now, technically, is my documentation of that process. Being alive is a terminal illness. The prognosis is just your life expectancy, which normalizes this idea that death is something that happens in the future at an older age, when in reality, death happens today. Death happens right now. That's what it'll feel like when you die. You are going to die in the moment. And I know that's scary because you don't know how or when life's killing you, but you know it's happening and you don't have control over it, which can feel like you don't have control over your life, but that's the exact opposite of what it means. Learning from these people who die on the internet, and when I say die on the internet, I really mean live on the internet, because once you're a terminal, it doesn't mean that every day of your life is spent dying. No, I think a lot of these people show that every day of your life is spent living, really living. Learning from these people has been a very healthy resource for me and a great way for me to realize just how much control I have over my life. That's how it feels for me. And over the course of writing this out, I kind of went into a bit of a spiral. Thinking a lot about death can do that sometimes, and I had an experience that I would like you all to participate in. So get ready. I'm going to give you a moment. I'd like you to just put in headphones or listen to this audio out loud if you can, but it's probably best if you do it alone. Every single beat you are hearing right now is someone dying. That's how fast it happens. Every day. And it gets faster as we get more people. Each beat, each one. Listen. Try to picture it. Try to comprehend. $115 per minute. Your heart can beat that fast when you're walking. Imagine your heart rate when you're walking. Obviously, it's not this quantized. It doesn't happen exactly this, so it can be dead, dead, dead. Dead, 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 dead. It makes it feel impossible that anybody has ever lived, ever. I mean, how does anyone survive? There's a million causes of death, a million ways to do it. Bodies are so fragile. How does anybody make it through a day? It can be a bit heartbreaking, scary. It can make you feel doomed. But once it is accepted, that certainty is nice. I know one day that beat will be for me. And I love the thought of someone out there sitting in their room just trying to conceptualize that someone they've never met and will never know anything about died. And that beat of death isn't just representative of an end. It represents an entire life, an entire person, an entire network. We are not just the beat of our final moment. The same way we're not and will never just be our last words, action, or breath. We are so much more than that. We are every single beat on this metronome that's been ticking since before we were born. And what we do in those beats of our life is our life. Live a beat at a time would be my cliche if I had to pick one right now. I know it can really, really feel like it. I've heard it a million times. I heard it from Claire Weiland. I've heard it in movies. I've heard it in media. And I heard it the first time I was ever on Spotify in 2013. The first song ever algorithmically suggested to me. It said it to me plain as day. We just have to believe that we set ourselves free. Okay.